A new coronavirus outbreak in Beijing sparks wartime measures. How serious is China's new outbreak? Welcome back to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. This episode is sponsored by Surfshark. You should be using a VPN like Surfshark to protect yourself whenever you go online. You should also wear a face mask whenever you go outside, especially if you're watching this video illegally from mainland China. Look, I know we're all sick of the coronavirus by now, but, hopefully not sick from it, but we're sick of constantly hearing about the coronavirus. But guess what? There's a new coronavirus outbreak in China. The acting mayor of Beijing has adopted what he called wartime measures to contain the spread, which, considering how China has fought wars before, I hope that doesn't mean sending wave after wave of Chinese soldiers at the virus. Anyway, the cases are linked to Xinfadi Market in the southwest of the city, which supplies most of the capital's fresh fruit and vegetables. The market, which also sells meat and seafood, has been shut down since Saturday. Xinfadi claims to be the largest wholesale food market in Asia. More than 10,000 people work at the market, which supplies 90% of Beijing's fruits and vegetables. Authorities sent police to shut down the market, and they completely locked down 11 residential complexes nearby. And then they locked down 10 more neighborhoods and fired officials in that part of Beijing. Then they set up 193 booths across Beijing to do mass testing to identify new cases. Wow, this new outbreak must be really serious. Now, let's see, here are the official numbers. The new coronavirus outbreak in Beijing grew to 106 cases Tuesday, with 29 communities in the sprawling Chinese capital back on lockdown. Okay. 106 new cases in a week doesn't sound like a lot in a city of 20 million people. At least not enough to justify the wartime measures they're talking about. Especially when you compare it to what we're dealing with here in New York City. We saw more than 2,000 new cases in the past week. But here's the thing, 106 new cases in Beijing is just the number officially reported by the Chinese government. And if I had to guess, Chinese officials believe the officially reported number about as much as you do, which could explain why they're taking such extreme measures. Another reason for extreme measures is that Beijing is the political base of the Chinese Communist Party. The party likes to put up a front that it has absolute control over everything that happens in the country. To have a CCP virus outbreak happen less than 10 miles away from Zhongnanhai, the central leadership compound, is deeply embarrassing. So now, the party has to show that they definitely have everything under control in Beijing, while also churning out propaganda to show how much better China is handling the coronavirus than the rest of the world. Beijing's political sensitivity is why local officials covered up the SARS outbreak there back in 2003, and got sacked for it. Now, for 55 days, Beijing authorities had claimed there were no new locally transmitted coronavirus cases until this latest outbreak happened. So, should we believe that Beijing had gone nearly 2 months with 0 new cases? Or were there new cases popping up all along, but authorities kept covering them up to fit their narrative until it finally got too big and now they're enacting wartime measures because there are way more than 106 cases and authorities are afraid it will spiral out of control? It's hard to know. But if you ask state-run media, the real problem is foreigners.
Beijing's Disease Control and Prevention Centre says the new coronavirus cases in the city might have originated in Europe.
But don't worry, because according to the editor of my favorite state-run media, the Global Times, there is no way Beijing becomes Wuhan 2.0. We will win again. Yes, just like how China was winning the war before in early May. And then, 2 weeks later, authorities locked down more than 100 million people in China's northeast. That's what you do when you're winning. In that case, by the way, the problem was also foreigners. Health officials suspected that the patients may have come into contact with infected returnees from Russia. So, Chinese health authorities are now reporting a small number of cases in Beijing, but they're taking extraordinary measures to lock down neighborhoods, fire officials, and set up mass citywide testing. Yes, very believable. But I'm confident that the Chinese Communist Party will continue to win against the CCP virus, because now they're targeting the real problem: fish. More specifically, salmon. According to the Global Times, the CCP virus was detected on a chopping board used by a seller of imported salmon at Xinfadi Market. That piece of information has now triggered a nationwide salmon boycott in China. China has even halted European salmon imports. Zheng Guang, a senior expert with the National Health Commission, said in an interview with state media on Sunday that we have yet to find out whether human beings transmitted the virus to salmon or salmon contracted the virus first. Okay, that is absurd. I can't believe I have to say this, but fish can't get the coronavirus. It's a virus that only infects mammals. So, if salmon can't get the coronavirus, how did the coronavirus get on the cutting board used for salmon? Keith Neal, an emeritus professor of the epidemiology of infectious diseases at Britain's University of Nottingham, said any link to salmon was likely the result of cross-contamination. Okay, so the coronavirus wasn't from the salmon. It was just cross-contamination from the cutting board. You know what that means. Nationwide boycotts of cutting boards. Everyone, throw out your cutting boards. And no more cutting board imports from Europe. This is how China will win the war. And this episode has been sponsored by Surfshark. If you're in China or any country that tries to restrict what you can see online, you should be using a VPN to protect your identity. And there's another advantage to using a VPN too. You can access websites that are only available in other countries. For example, let's say you're bored during lockdown and you want to watch a movie about breaking out of lockdown. But you can't get Prison Break on Netflix in the US. No problem. Use Surfshark to switch your location to South Korea, refresh, and there it is. In fact, there's tons of TV shows and movies that you can only watch if you're logged into Netflix in another country by using a VPN like Surfshark. Try out Surfshark now with a 30-day money-back guarantee. And Surfshark has a special discount for China Uncensored fans. Go to surfshark.com/uncensored and use the code UNCENSORED to get 85% off a 2-year plan and 3 extra months for free. Click the link below. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.